Once upon a time, the S in SUV really did stand for sport, and there are few SUVs that better embody that than the Alfa Romeo Stelvio. Based on the lively Giulia saloon, it's certainly big despite its svelte looks, but it packs a lineup of punchy petrol and diesel engines and the promise of agile handling. Of course, the U4 utility needs to be addressed too, and the Stelvio can't afford to forget about practicality, especially since the premium end of the large SUV class where the Stelvio sits is also home to some extremely well-rounded rivals. Alfa's first ever SUV is up against the Audi Q5 and BMW X3. It's perhaps closer in spirit to the sportier Jaguar F-Pace, though, and also faces a strong challenge from the Porsche Macan as a driver's SUV. Fortunately, the mouth-watering prospect of the range-topping Stelvio Quadrifoglio helps its case here. It's powered by a Ferrari-sourced V6 petrol engine, and you can read that model in its own review. Since arriving in 2017, the Stelvio has had some tweaks here and there to keep it fresh, most notably a facelift in 2019 that greatly improved the interior quality. So now, aside from having a pretty face and a prettier interior, is the Stelvio a more complete package than those illustrious rivals? Read on to find out how it drives, how spacious it is, and which trim level we reckon gives you the best value for money. If you've made your choice by the end of this review, make sure to head on over to our new car buying section for a great deal with no need to haggle. Before proceeding to the video, if you would like to make a promotional video for your business, you can click on the link in the description and get your promotional video. Alfa Romeo Stelvio review, we divided into 16 parts. Let's get started. Number 16. Performance and drive. When picking an engine for your Alfa Romeo Stelvio, we suggest sticking with diesel. There are two 2.2-liter units offering 187 bp or 207 bhp. All versions are responsive from low revs and pull strongly throughout the whole rev range, whisking you up to motorway speeds with ease. The 187 bp engine, badged as the 2.2 diesel 190, provides a good compromise between power and costs. With smooth yet responsive performance, it takes a respectable 7.6 seconds to reach 62 miles per hour from a stop. The quicker 2.2 diesel 210, which is only available in range-topping Velis trim, drops that time to 6 SCC. Both engines are quick by class standards compared to equivalent diesels in rivals like the Audi Q5, BMW X3 and F-Pace. There's also a pair of 2.0-liter four-cylinder petrol engines. The 2.0 petrol 200 gets 197 bp, while the quicker 2.0 petrol 280 gets 276 bp and is only available in Velis trim. The more powerful engine takes just 5.7 seconds to accelerate from 0 to 62 miles per hour, but both engines need to be worked hard to show their true muscle. Neither of these engines make the Stelvio feel as fast as the on-paper numbers suggest, and this detracts from the feeling of sportiness. We'd stick with the diesels, and because you can only get the 207 bp version in pricey Velis trim, the 187 bp is the pick of the range. However, it's a different story entirely if you're considering the other petrol engine, a stonking 503 bp 2.9-liter V6 that's fitted exclusively to the Stelvio Quadrifoglio, which we've reviewed separately. Number 15. Suspension and ride comfort. With so much talk of the Stelvio being designed to outhandle the opposition, it shouldn't be a great surprise to find that it has a rather firm ride. Although it never bangs or crashes over potholes or big road imperfections, it does feel quite unsettled at low speeds. You'll feel yourself being jostled around in your seat. At higher speeds, however, the sports-oriented suspension setup is better, dealing with crests and compressions with a fluency and finesse that is usually reserved for the best sports saloons. However, rivals offer better ride comfort overall. An X3 is firmer but more controlled, while a Q5 can glide over surfaces that would unsettle the Stelvio. As always, we'd suggest sticking to smaller wheels if you are looking for the best ride, and it's worth paying for the adaptive suspension that you can have as an option on all but entry-level super trim if smoothness is a priority. Set to its softest setting, the system absorbs a lot of the tremors that are kicked up by patchy surfaces and expansion joints, but it's still not among the best riding cars in the class. Top-spec Velis models get an even firmer suspension setup as standard, and we're yet to try it. Number 14. Handling. This is where the Stelvio really shines. Number 13. Noise and vibration. The Stelvio's engines may be pretty powerful, but they aren't particularly quiet. The entry-level 197 bit 2.0-liter petrol sounds coarse even when pootling along and fails to sound at all sporty. If you take the higher power 2.0-liter near its rev limiter, it does develop a slightly raspy tone, but when you're driving it normally, it too is pretty and remarkable. As for both of the 2.2-liter diesels, you're always aware of that gritty dirge that traditionally blights cars fueled from the black pump. The diesels available in the X3 and Q5 are far more refined. Road noise is more obtrusive in the Stelvio than it is in the Q5 too, while the mirrors whip up some wind noise around the front pillars. Every Stelvio has an 8-speed automatic gearbox as standard. Unlike the slightly hesitant gearbox in the Audi Q5, the Stelvios reacts more immediately when you want a sudden burst of acceleration. You can also alter the urgency of its gearshift via the driving mode selector in the center console, with dynamic offering the sportiest mode. It can feel a little jerky on downshifts at lower speeds, though regardless of which mode you're in. Before proceeding to the video, if you didn't subscribe our channel, then please subscribe our channel and like video and share with your friends. Number 12. Interior. The standard electrically adjustable seats are easy to adjust and have adjustable lumbar support on all but entry-level Super trim. The steering wheel has plenty of adjustment for rake, but fairly limited reach adjustment, so not everyone will be able to find a perfect driving position. The analog instrument dials are clear and simple to read. The 7-0 screen between them can be configured to display information such as sat-nav instructions or driving information such as economy figures from the trip computer. Number 11. Visibility, parking sensors and cameras. The windscreen pillars are quite thick, and this can obstruct your view when pulling out of junctions. Likewise, the thick rear pillars and narrow rear window obstruct rear visibility and can make reversing tricky. Thankfully, front and rear parking sensors, as well as a reversing camera, are standard on all trims. Number 10. Sat-nav and infotainment. Every Stelvio has an 8-in infotainment screen that you can control by touching the screen or by using a rotary dial mounted between the front seats. This means it is very easy and safe to use this system on the move, unlike some rival systems that are purely touchscreen, like those of the Audi Q5 and Volvo XC60. The system itself has quite a simple setup with a home screen that features a widget-style layout. However, the graphics are quite grainy, and it's still not swish enough to pull you away from plugging in your smartphone to use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, included as standard. The BMW X3, which also uses a rotary dial controller but has much sharper graphics, remains the class leader here. Number 9. Quality. Interior finish has always been a bit of a sticking point with Alfa, but the Stelvio is much stronger in this regard than many other Alfa efforts. The Stelvio uses soft touch materials for plenty of surfaces, and gives you the option to specify real wood inserts for prominent locations, such as around the leather-clad gear selector. The optional steering column mounted aluminum paddle shifters feel of extremely high quality too. But, while the interior may generally look good, the buttons and dials you touch on the center console feel a little loose, and the materials they are made from are cheap feeling. All in all, the Stelvio still can't match the outright quality of its German rivals, many of which excel in this area, including the Audi Q5 and BMW X3. Number 8. Passenger and boot space. The Alfa Romeo Stelvio is a pretty big vehicle, and this is certainly good news for front seat occupants. There's plenty of headroom, even for taller drivers, and the seat goes back far enough for the longest of legs. It's also wide enough to ensure you won't be rubbing elbows with your passenger. You'll also find a decent amount of storage up front, with door pockets that can hold a bottle of water and other assorted items, and a space in front of the gear selector, where you'll find a couple of cup holders plus a 12-volt socket and USB port. There's also plenty of storage under the center armrest, including a wireless phone charger, if specified. Number 7. Rear space. A 6-foot-tall passenger might be able to fit behind a driver of similar height, but their knees will be very close to the back of the front seats. Likewise, the curved roofline eats into rear headroom. That said, for people of average height should be able to get comfy, while kids will have no problem at all. There's much more rear space in the Land Rover Discovery Sport and Volvo XC60, though. As for storage, the rear door pockets are smaller, but you can still get a small bottle of water in there. You also get a pair of cup holders in the rear armrest, and a couple of USB sockets between the front seats. Number 6. Seat folding and flexibility. Unlike some SUVs, the Stelvio doesn't offer rear seats that recline or slide backwards and forwards. They do split into 40-20-40 segments, though more flexible than the common 60-40s arrangement, and they have handles in the boot, so you can fold them without having to open a side door. Once they're down, there's no step in the extended boot floor, just a slight incline. Number 5. Boot space. At 525 liters, the Stelvio trumps the XC60, but can't quite match the Audi Q5 or BMW X3. The load area is a usefully square shape with no internal load lip. It's just a shame that there aren't more hooks for bags or eyelets to hold loads down. Part 4. Costs and verdict. The Stelvio is priced similarly to rivals like the Audi Q5, BMW X3 and Land Rover Discovery Sport, and generous discounts are available from dealers, as well as through our hassle-free new car buying service. It is, though, not expected to hold on to its value as well as those rivals after 3 years, and, with no hybrid or plug-in hybrid in the range, none of the engines will prove especially cost-effective as a company car. Like its conventional petrol and diesel rivals, the Stelvio will sit in the higher benefit-in-kind tax brackets. Its official fuel economy is also very similar to that of its rivals. Number 3. Equipment, options and extras. Entry-level supermodels have 18-in alloy wheels, a leather steering wheel, the infotainment system mentioned earlier, cruise control, and automatic lights and wipers. You then have the choice to go for a sport lead trim called Sprint or the more luxury-focused Lusso T. Both get 19-in alloy wheels, while the former has aluminum inserts, a sporty steering wheel and part leather seats, while Lusso T adds wooden panels, leather on the dashboard and heated leather seats. There's also the top-level Veloce trim, which comes with the highest-powered petrol or diesel engine, and gets 20-in alloy wheels plus sporty leather seats. Number 2. Reliability. The Stelvio didn't feature individually in the 2020 What Car? Reliability survey, but Alfa Romeo as a brand finished in a very respectable 11th place out of the 31 brands featured. While the duration of the brand's warranty is a fairly standard 3 years, it's worth noting that there are no mileage restrictions. Number 1. Safety and security. The Stelvio scored a full 5 stars in Euro NCAP safety tests as most of its rivals did. It impressively outscored the Audi Q5 for adult occupant protection too, but the Q5 is better at protecting child occupants, and the Volvo XC60 remains the class leader for safety with higher individual test scores. There is plenty of driver assistance and safety tech that features as standard on the Stelvio. Lane keeping assistance, blind spot monitoring and driver attention assist are all included, as well as automatic emergency braking with pedestrian detection, while adaptive cruise control is standard on all but entry-level super trim. Thanks for watching. If you didn't subscribe our channel, then please subscribe our channel and like video and share with your friends.